Hey guys, welcome to the Champs Entertainment channel. I am your host, Walker Cheatham. I'm going to go ahead and throw our names up there. Walker Cheatham, and this is.
EJ Flemming.
And this is basically a collaboration effort of the Movie Champs and the Geek Champs brand. We're going to do a deep dive into the
MCU Phase 1.
Phase 1. And basically what we're going to do here, we're going to talk about every movie from start to finish of the Phase 1. And we're going to do basically a Phase 2 and Phase 3, or lead up to Phase 3, basically, which will be the Avengers
Infinity War.
Yeah, so... yeah, we're going to start from the very first movie, and that one is Iron Man. So, do you want to summarize Iron Man, the first Iron Man movie?
Yes, the very first Iron Man movie starts with a missile demonstration in the desert. It goes awry, and it comes to find out that he has a piece of the shrapnel from said missile demonstration. No, I got that wrong. After the missile demonstration, his Humvee gets attacked, and he has a piece of shrapnel lodged in his heart, and he gets kidnapped by the 10 Rings. And the 10 Rings wants them to make more missiles for them than them only. If he doesn't, they will kill him and Yinsen too. So instead of making a missile, he makes the Iron Man Mark 1. And the rest is cinematic history. From there, he fine-tunes it. And then he gets to the Iron Man armor we know. Obadiah Stane is his business partner who wants the Iron Man tech for his own. So he's trying to find a way to reverse engineer it. But he can't because he's not Tony Stark.
Right.
It leads to a big fight between him and the Ironmonger, which is his own version of the Stark tech. But since he's perfected it to a certain point, he knows the limitations and then uses that against him to win the fight. And then he makes this dramatic declaration on television that he is Iron Man, and then that sets forth the events of the MCU going forward.
Fair. All right, so we're not gonna rate these movies until we get to the end of our discussion of the movie, right? Should we do it that way?
Yeah, that's better be the better way to do it. Yeah.
Okay. So what we're also going to be doing here is we're going to be giving this movie not going to score it like we do a Movie Champs review, but we're going to rank it. So we're going to rank this phase of the movie. Well, I get
this movie. We're talking about the movies in chronological order in which they were released, but our rankings are not going to reflect where our rankings are going to be out of order because we're talking about them as they came out, not as they show up on our list.
Right.
Because we may put them in different places.
Yeah, and they may even change when we actually view our overall list of all 3 phases.
When they get to the end.
So yeah, we're just ranking the phase for right now.
Yeah, just all 6 of phase 1 now.
Yes. So, anyway, so this is one where we're introduced to Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man. That's your phone or something.
Yeah, that's my phone. That's fine.
So we're introduced to Robert Downey Jr. Basically, we're introduced to the MCU right here. Where Jon Favreau directed, and he set the tone very well. I mean, he literally took there was no plan for the MCU at the time.
Oh, there was.
Well, not this one that we have now.
Not the one
where we have everything. Or so many things right now.
Yeah, there was this was like the very first cautious step in the unknown territory for Marvel Comics.
Right.
Because had this movie not worked, Marvel Comics may be an entirely different entity than we know now.
Right.
But we don't have to worry about that because it took off beautifully, and I love it for it.
Yeah. But yeah, so this was also at the time this was with Terrence Howard, who was playing. What's his character's name?
He was playing Rhodes.
Yeah, and then the villain in this movie, Jeff Bridges. Jeff Bridges played the villain in this movie. So, this was very good first movie for this for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and Robert Downey Jr. played this character very well.
Yeah, as soon as they announced that he was playing Tony Stark, I said, "Well, there's your Iron Man.
Yeah.
Iron Man's going to be good because they cast Tony Stark to play himself."
Yeah, he's like a cockier Bruce Wayne, basically.
Yeah, it's like if Bruce Wayne gave no crap about anything.
Yes. But yes, and Jeff Bridges, he was not a very good villain in this movie.
Yeah, the Phase 1 had a lot of Phase 1 and the first two phases of the MCU. I will admit, the villains were weak.
Yeah.
It wasn't until we got to Phase 3 where the villains started to get more complex.
Yes.
And actually become villains you actually could side with, and that's the sign of a good death. That's a sign of good writing. Where you like go, they do have a point.
Yeah. Yeah. But with what were some of your favorite parts of the Iron Man movie?
It was just the way everything was just. Robert Downey Jr. pretty much made that movie.
Yeah.
Anything that was good about Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr. was involved. The whole Jericho Mitchell speech, ad-libbed.
Yeah.
I did not know that when I first time I watched that movie. Going back, it looked like that was so scripted and rehearsed, but knowing that he ad-libbed that and it was so good, I was like, oh my. I was like, the whole scene with the relationship they built with a little robotic arm throughout that movie. Yeah. And then even near the end when Jeff Bridges, Obadiah Stane used that device on him and took his arc reactor out of his chest. And then the robot arm gave him the one that he kept on the desk. It was such a scene of, he treats this thing like trash, but there it was to save him again. I'm like, wow, that was like, they actually gave emotion to a robot arm.
Yeah, and then I just remember at the time there was such a kind of a small controversy of them choosing Iron Man as this, because Iron Man wasn't really a big character for Marvel at the time.
Yeah, the thing, none of these characters were really top tier at the time they made.
Especially Thor.
The Thor was like at the bottom.
Yeah,
and that's why it was such a gamble to actually focus on movie on Iron Man, because none of these characters were like big names.
Right.
No one knew who Iron Man was. People only knew Captain America because the shield design is so iconic.
Yeah.
But Thor and the rest of them, they didn't. And they only knew Hulk because he's big, green, and destroy stuff. Yeah. Hulk.
And this was actually the best, as far as the chemistry between him and Pepper Potts. Mm-hmm. This was the best one. They set it up very well in this, and then ultimately it degraded to nothing later on.
But they actually explained that away in later movies too. So
they did.
It's not just the fact that it wasn't the fact that it degraded away because it didn't mean anything to the movies no more. It was a point to it.
Yeah.
Everything between them, it had.
Yeah, they make up for it kind of in the Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
But
post Iron Man 3.
Yeah, post Iron Man 3.
Mm-hmm.
Post Iron Man 3.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're not talking about that movie now. We're talking about this one.
Yeah, we're talking about this one.
Yeah, it was very good, very well done. It sowed the seeds very well, and I was like, I left that theater like, okay. And then when you got to this, then when Samuel L. Jackson showed up at the end, I'm like, oh, this is really happening. Yes. This is actually going to happen now. I'm like, okay. That was the first time you learned never leave a Marvel movie.
Never leave a Marvel.
That was the first time they taught you stay till the very end. Mm-hmm. The movie's not over because the credits start rolling.
But yeah, this is the special effects in this were. I don't want to say ahead of its time, but we were definitely introduced to a new kind of action movie with this, especially a new kind of superhero movie with the action in this movie. It was just because this one was it was still very much more realistic than what we were getting from Sam Raimi's Spider-Man movies that are not part of this universe. But yeah, this was we'll go ahead and start ranking now. For me, this one is my number 3.
For me, it's my number 2.
Your number 2? Okay.
Yeah. It's my number 2 MCU Phase 1 movie. I think back to this movie every time I think about the MCU because this was the launching point. Mm-hmm. Everything that they referenced, I'm the one nudging you in the theater that goes, that was a reference that happened in so and so.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I'm the guy catching these things in all these other movies. And when they reference this movie again, I get excited because it was so good that I can talk about this movie again.
Yeah. All right, guys. So we're gonna go ahead and move on now to the second movie in the MCU Phase 1, and that is The Incredible Hulk. So you want to summarize this one too, because you're the geek champ. You get to summarize these things.
Okay,
as best to your memory as you can.
Okay, this one sets out like we kind of told the story in progress, where we're not shown him being made into the Hulk again. We're actually just following him on the run into Brazil, which is cool because that's kind of the way the Hulk is. He kind of doesn't stay in one place too long. He stays until he stays in control of the Hulk as long as he can. But once he hulks out, he goes somewhere else and starts all over again because that's the sad nature of Bruce Banner's life.
Yes.
So then we're in Brazil. He's working in a energy drink company. And then he's like just hiding out. Then one day he gets cut at work. So he's panicking because he has all that gamma radiation in his blood. And he doesn't want that getting out into the world. He doesn't want that the knowledge that he's here getting out in the world. So he's trying to find that one bottle, and he can't, and then it winds up killing someone in America who digests it. By the way, which is a pretty messed up way to do your Stan Lee cameo. But then they send the government after him, and then he has to run away again. So he runs back home to Betty Ross, which is the general's daughter, and then they try to find a way to help the Hulk or whatever to even suppress him. While all this is going on, General Ross has got a sample of the super soldier serum, and they actually give some to Tim Roth's character, yeah, and Emil Blonsky, and he gets a little boost of speed and strength and whatnot, but it's not enough to survive the Hulk. So then he wants a gamma transfusion, which turns him into the Abomination. Mm-hmm. And then we get that giant battle in Harlem between Abomination and Hulk, which is very brutal. And then it ends with him showing that he can control when he hulks in and out at will.
Okay. So, yeah, this one was at the time. I just remember at the time, because I didn't realize this. I didn't know anything of an MCU at the time. I didn't realize that these were connected to the Iron Man movie. And even now today, technically, it's questionable whether it's still technically an MCU movie.
It is an MCU movie due to the fact that General Ross appears in Civil War.
Right. That's the only thing that really connects it.
Yeah, because and that's more to do with the licensing rights than anything.
Yeah,
because anytime they want to make a Hulk movie, Hulk is like a car.
Yeah.
They're leasing the car from Universal. They don't own the car.
Yeah.
So they could put the pretty car in any of their any of their other movies as background dressing and whatnot. But if they want to make this car the focal point of the movie, Universal has to step in and make that movie for them. Yeah. Make that movie, and that's why they're getting around it by making Ragnarok the Planet Hulk movie.
Yeah, which being that Disney has all the money in the world, it's still surprising that they haven't go ahead and just made that commitment yet.
Well, see, I think there's other legalese in the way about that.
Oh yeah, man. But anyways, we're talking specifically about this one. This one we have Edward Norton playing the Bruce Banner role, and he did a very good job. Especially if you're comparing it to what
Eric Bana
did. It wasn't completely Eric Bana's fault. That was an all-around bad movie.
Yeah, I watched that movie in theaters with my dad, and I was like, "What is this?
Yeah,
this isn't the Hulk."
But even as young as I was so upset with the Hulk movie that I was almost did not want to go see this Incredible Hulk movie until I saw how much the difference is as far as the effects. This is even nowadays that didn't look so. That looks pretty good. How they made the Hulk, the realism that they had with the Hulk.
Yeah, because in the last one he looked too much like an action figure.
Yeah,
he looked like an action figure against backdrops.
Yeah, I mean, but
he was too
the best
green.
One is the Ragnarok Hulk right now.
Oh yeah, because they've perfected the tech.
They perfected it.
Yeah. And fun fact, like the Phase 1, was the last time we got a lot of was like when we got the major tie-in movie video game.
Yes.
Because every one of these movies up until Captain America, up and including Captain America, came with a Sega-made video game.
Oh yeah.
And they were all trash.
Yeah.
Granted, I know I'm catching crap for this and catching crap for this, but I'm gonna catch myself now. Thor: God of Thunder for the DS, amazing.
Really?
It was like a Castlevania game starring Thor, and it was good. So that game gets a pass. I wanted everyone to know that I'm aware of that game. So don't kill me in the comment section. But the rest of the Incredible Hulk game was kind of okay too because it's open world, destroy stuff in vein of Ultimate Destruction back in the day. But that's neither here or there. Just talking about Phase 1 made me think about those games.
And this, I don't know if this is a popular opinion or not, but I prefer Edward Norton as Bruce Banner over Mark Ruffalo.
I have to disagree.
You can disagree.
Because Mark Ruffalo, like they said, Edward Norton plays the sad, tragic side of Bruce Banner very well, but somehow Mark Ruffalo shows you could still play like there's like still a human to Bruce Banner that's like even when in Thor Ragnarok, when he's just running around as Bruce Banner, he has like a human side to him that should like he has like just a normal side to him in addition to the Hulk side. That Edward Norton was just always playing the paranoid, don't want to get angry side very well. He didn't have a lightness to him like Mark Ruffalo's Hulk does.
Yeah. I guess it's just upsetting that Edward Norton. There's something I don't remember what the behind the scenes thing was that kept Edward Norton from returning for the Avengers, but
he wanted more money than they were willing to pay him at the time because they were this is still very experimental.
Yeah, that seemed to have been a lot of problems with a lot of the actors wanting more money
because there was a different dude in charge of it back then.
Yeah.
And then him and Kevin Feige didn't get along on the film division side of things. So when the TV project started kicking up, they put the dude there was one dude who was in charge of making sure all these people got paid.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why Terrence Howard left. That's why Edward Norton left, because he didn't want to pay them the money they, at this point, shown that they're worth. So they moved him to the television side of things.
And who's the one? What's the name of the actor that replaced Terrence Howard again?
Don Cheadle.
Don Cheadle. I prefer him. I think he has such a way better chemistry with Robert Downey Jr.
Yes, he does. Yes.
So that was actually better an upgrade.
Yeah, yeah. But it was like Ike Penmalter or something like that.
He's the one that's in charge of the television division now.
And that's why there's not much crossover, even though they reference events from the movies and the TV show and vice versa. There's not much crossover between the two like there was originally going to be.
Yeah, Kevin Feige was working below him before. Now, they don't want to kind of work together.
They don't want to work together at all.
Now that they're kind of equals.
Yeah, they don't want to work.
It's a different relationship.
Yeah, but Incredible Hulk being having the weakest ties to the MCU.
Yes,
puts it at number 6 on my list.
Really? Okay,
yeah.
I have a different number 6, but mine's fairly close. It's a number 5.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, by this being the one that has the least ties, and then they tease a villain that we're never going to get due to the right reasons. Mm-hmm. That's why it's so low on the list. You don't tease the leader.
Yeah.
But remember the scene where Homeboy gets the drop of gamma radiation to his brain and his brain starts growing?
Yes.
That was supposed to be the leader.
Really?
Yeah, and I'm mad I'm not going to get a live action leader.
And Tim Roth is actually a pretty good bad guy in this movie, as well as William Hurt, I guess, if you can consider him a bad guy.
I mean, he's not. He's more as a neutral and like there's a term for people like General Ross,
right?
Because he comes around near the end,
right? So, but either way, Tim Roth definitely was an awesome bad guy.
Yes, he was.
But and Liv Tyler, it's upsetting that she's not going to get. I mean, she hasn't come back yet, right? She wasn't in Avengers, right?
No, she hasn't popped up in anything.
Okay, yeah, because that was Black Widow that went and brought out Mark Ruffalo's character.
Yeah.
But so this was my number 5. But yeah, this was what was the director? The director of this was
Louis Leterrier.
Yeah, Louis Leterrier. Something French.
Yeah, he did a much better job than Ang Lee did.
Yeah, and Zach pinned the screenplay. So that was pretty good. I just wish that we saw that there was something that could have happened out of that. But like I said, there was a studio switch and all that. There was it was just a change in direction. But it would have been interesting to see that story continue. That part of the story anyway. Continue. Yeah. But we're gonna go ahead and move to the third movie in the MCU. That is Iron Man 2. All right. Do you have a summary?
Okay, picking up after the events of the first Iron Man, he made the dramatic God declaration that he is Iron Man, and then it shows you what living the life in you've just revealed to the world your Iron Man world is like. He's like a celebrity now, but also more people want to take him down, and which in this case is Mickey Rourke's Whiplash, who feels that his father's legacy is being buried under the Stark name, even though they work so hand in hand together with the Stark family. So he's telling them, he basically comes out for revenge for his father, while also at the same time warning them that the element in his chest reactor is slowly killing him while keeping him alive. So he has to race against a clock to stop Whiplash and stop the palladium in his chest from killing him. And doing all this, it says he feels he's going to die. He starts being reckless, racing race cars and all this kind of stuff, getting drunk and angrily bossing his friend, be it in a cool way, and both having Iron Man suits. But other than that, that's all right. Iron Man 2 felt like what it was.
Yep.
It was an excuse to give us more Iron Man.
That's exactly my feelings about it. It was. I don't want to go ahead and give my ranking away. I will go ahead and give my ranking away. This is my number 6.
Funny, it's my number 5.
Really? This was my number 6.
This one is like the true first time the MCU felt like it was. This felt like this was a spinning its tires movie.
Yeah.
It wasn't. It really didn't have anything to move anything forward.
Now, this one was visually a huge step forward from the first Iron Man.
Yes. Visually, yes.
And you can even see the upgrade in the quality of the Iron Man suit in this one. This one was very ultra realistic, though, with like sort of what we have now, where it's all like motion capture and stuff. Where the first one felt a little bit more like it was just straight up CGI. This one felt like you're seeing.
It felt like you're actually seeing a suit.
Yeah. So visually, this one was. You can tell the quality had changed. But story-wise, this one was pretty terrible.
Yeah, this was just the studio's excuse to give us more Iron Man, to give us more of Robert Downey Jr. to tie us over to the Avengers.
I'm not giving away where the Iron Man 3 is at on my list yet. I'll wait until we get there.
But we got to do it against his own phase first.
Yeah, so we're going against the phase right now. So, but yeah, this one was screenplay by Jon Favreau. So Justin Theroux. Justin Theroux wrote this one. Not my favorite writer. He's a funny guy. He does comedy very well, comedy writing very well. But besides that, he's not one of my favorite writers. But
the introduction of Black Widow was cool, though.
Oh, yeah.
The way they introduced this movie to introduce Black Widow was cool.
So the way that this movie did feel like it was kind of more of the setup for the MCU.
Yeah.
This one was kind of the real step one into the MCU, where the first one was a great standalone movie. This one did feel more like there was just a lot being thrown at it.
Yeah. This one, they actually felt like they needed another movie to establish that, yes, all of these are connected.
And we got Don Cheadle, which I said was an upgrade from Terrence Howard. So the relationships between everybody was great, but like I said, this is a lot of setting up in this movie. And like it's Black Widow, Sam Rockwell, Justin Hammer, pretty awesome. What happened to him?
Oh, he's in prison.
He's in prison. Okay,
he's in the same prison that Ben Kingsley's character wound up going to in
Oh, that's right. In Iron Man 3.
Yeah, because then in that because then they made a one shot called All Hail the King, where it's revealed that the Mandarin is actually a real thing.
Mm.
So that gets me excited that we may get a Mandarin somewhere down the line, a real Mandarin.
Yeah, but do you think we'll get Justin Hammer back or Sam Rockwell's character back?
I would safely say so. Like somehow or another, when if Thanos is destroying things like he claims to be, it's not that hard for a prison gate to go oops. Yeah.
And this was the first step in the decline, though, of the Pepper Potts character for me too.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's not much to say here.
We already ranked it. On to the next one.
Yeah.
Mickey Rourke was cool as Whiplash, but did we really need him?
No.
Did we really need Iron Man 2? Not really.
Not really.
Was it fun while it was on? Yeah, but when you think back, we could have went for somewhere else.
Yep. So we are now at the fourth movie?
Yes, the
fourth movie in the MCU. And that is Thor. Just Thor. God of Thunder. Thor.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they've changed the name internationally, but it's Thor to me.
Mm-hmm.
So, want to summarize Thor real quick?
Thor. Asgardian prince. Kind of a douche.
Yeah.
So, daddy takes the good car away and throws him to Earth, i.e. his good car being the hammer, and then makes him earn the hammer back by making him prove that he's worthy of it. So then he gets thrown to New Mexico. His hammer is left in the desert because no one can move it. So then he has to go on a journey of self-discovery to try to figure out what it means to be worthy to lift his hammer. And then he finds out that Loki's involved in the plot to destroy things and all this and all that, because by him finding out he's actually a frost giant, and the fact that he was used as leverage to barter peace between the frost giants in a way. He feels betrayed about that, so he wants to destroy Asgard for that. And I actually enjoyed this movie a lot.
I did too. I watched this multiple times. I was working at an IMAX theater at this time. I think I watched this movie in IMAX at least 5 times when it came out. This was, like I said, it was one of my the big things that started to actually draw me into this MCU. I definitely felt a little pushback from the Iron Man 2 movie, but Thor really was a step up from that, and I thought it was funny. I thought Chris Hemsworth was a
people
discovery.
Forget that Thor 1 was actually pretty funny too.
Yeah,
and like Ragnarok was like the first full steer in the comedy. Excuse me, but first Thor had his funny moments too.
I thought the style of humor. There's obviously a huge difference in the style of humor in this than in Ragnarok, but Ragnarok stands alone on its own.
Yeah, Ragnarok went for the more broader comedy, where this one went for the more fish out of water stuff.
Yeah, I think the biggest turn off for me in this movie was what's the actress's name?
Kat Deely.
Kat Deely. Yeah, I think her character was unnecessary and really wasn't all that funny.
I think she had some funny moments, especially when she named the hammer Mew Mew or something like that, because she couldn't pronounce Mjolnir.
Yeah. I think I more liked her relationship with Stellan Skarsgård's character more than I liked her interactions with Thor.
Mm-hmm. and what makes Thor good too, even though it's ranked where it is, only because it had to go somewhere. I won't say where just yet.
Yeah.
This is the first time we truly see what the plot of Avengers is going to be about.
Yeah. And we're introduced to Loki, which was really kind of the first real good villain.
Yeah. We were introduced to Loki, which was like the first true villain, and then by his fate being left ambiguous for the first time, which hadn't happened to that point either. Most of the villains at that point had died.
Yeah.
So to have a villain with an ambiguous fate was like, could he come back? And then when you find out he does come back, you go, is he the villain of Avengers?
Yeah.
So that's like, it sowed a lot of the Avengers, full-on Avengers 1 seeds with Thor.
Yeah.
And then we also got Hawkeye for the first time.
Oh yeah, I forgot Hawkeye was in this.
Because he was the one looking at him from the tower as he was trying to lift the hammer.
Okay.
That's why he makes a joke in Age of Ultron. Said, "I remember the first time you tried to lift. I remember one time you tried to lift it, it didn't work out so well because he was there when he couldn't lift it."
Okay, I didn't see it. I'm blank. Was he actually? Was it the Hawkeye character or was it the actual actor too?
It was Jeremy Renner.
It was Jeremy Renner in there.
Yeah, because he was like a rainy night. He was like had the arrow trained on him, and he was waiting for orders of whether or not to fire the arrow. And then he was like, "You better do something because I'm starting to cheer for him."
Yeah.
I remember these things. I don't know why.
For some reason, my
by the way, I hadn't watched any of these movies before I started talking, so this is all from the dome.
I was gonna say I didn't remember Hawkeye till the Avengers, but that's pretty dope.
Yeah, he was in the.
Is this the first time we were introduced to Agent Coulson too?
No, Coulson was in Iron Man.
Oh, he was in first Iron Man. Okay.
Yeah, because he was always the one that would also explain what Shield meant.
Okay.
And then they always would joke him and said, "Y'all need a better name." Then by the end of it, they would say, "Oh, that's right, you're with Strategic Homeland." He said, "Just call it, we're Shield."
Okay, because Shield. This is just the first time I think did Shield have a bigger part in this movie. Is that why I remember them first more?
Yeah, the Shield, because Shield is the one that has custody of the hammer.
Yeah.
That's why you remember them more. They're the ones that actually have the hammer.
Yeah. Okay. Well, for me, where I'm ranking this one, it's number 4.
Hey, funny. Number 4 for me too.
Okay, cool.
like I said, it had to go somewhere. And 3, 2, and 1.
And maybe MCU just needs to give up on the romance thing, because this is also was the best for Natalie Portman in Thor.
No, I wouldn't say give up the romance thing because they did it very well in Black Panther.
True. Okay, so yeah, that's
they did. I'm thinking what maybe we're watching with the MCU. Phase 1 were the growing pains.
Yeah, because Natalie Portman and or whatever her name, Jane Foster and Thor just had zero chemistry at all.
Yeah, and then they actually got fixed that with Thor and Valkyrie.
Yeah.
So it's getting better.
Yeah, but so it's my number 4, and it's also the 4th movie. Yeah, so. Yes. It's my number 4 for the phase, also being the 4th movie in the lineup.
And then after that we have
Captain America, the First Avenger. Go ahead and summarize that one if you can.
Okay. We're taking to Antarctica, where they're digging up something out of the ice, and it's revealed to be Captain America. How did he get here? We got to go back to World War II for that story. So what begins as a period piece about a young skinny kid in Brooklyn looking for a way to join the army. His best friend Bucky is looking out for him at all times because, he's small, scrawny, but he doesn't back down. So he goes to register and he says they turn him away because he's so thin and frail that they'll be thinking he won't last long, so it'll be a waste to bring him out there. But then as they're working on a super soldier serum, and they're just looking for the right soldier for it. So they're looking for candidates, and they bring Steve Rogers along anyway. And they see that even though he's not built for it, he's a better man for it, as far as judgment and willingness to sacrifice. So they give the super soldier serum to him, make him the Captain America that we know, but then he's treated as like a circus act / USO. Hey, give it up for the troop show when he could be doing so much more. So then one day something happens where 200 soldiers get captured. So then he feels like this is my moment, and then he goes and saves all 200 soldiers pretty much by himself, and that's how he becomes, instead of the Captain America the performer, he becomes Captain America the soldier. And they take him on. They give him a better shield. His Tony Stark's father, Howard, makes him a better shield out of vibranium, which is able to make him deflect bullets and all this and all like that. And then Red Skull is there. He's almost like a super soldier of his own. And then he's looking for the Tesseract, which we didn't know at the time was actually one of the Infinity Stones. We just saw it was a glowing blue cube.
Yeah.
And then it was interesting to see this alternate World War II history with all the hydro technology and whatnot. And I thought it was cool. And then at the end, all these planes that are marked to drop bombs in various parts of the world. He has to stop this one. He stops most of them, but one still gets off. And he has to purposely crash this one, which theoretically might labels him dead, when in reality he's just frozen in Antarctica for 70 years. And then they cut him out, thaw him, and they reveal to him that over 70 years has passed. This is New York now, and we got to catch you up. And that's how you meet. That's how you get your first 4 Avengers.
Yeah. So what we have not been doing, we talked about last week. You were giving us you were going to give us not a chronological. What's the word I'm thinking of?
Timeline.
The timeline for the Avenger or for these movies in the MCU. This one obviously was mostly a period until the time travel or the time jump. That happens in this movie. So where does this time jump to in contrast and compared to the Iron Man movie? Where is Iron Man as far as the year?
Well, apparently Iron Man and Iron Man 2 were only 6 months apart in storyline wise.
Right.
So everything that happened in between Iron Man and Avengers, it was like a space of a year.
Okay. So Iron Man and Avengers. Okay, so Iron Man and Avengers, and so when Captain America ends up in New York.
That's shortly before Loki does what he does.
Okay. So, and do you remember exactly what year they were in?
I was going to say 2008, 2009.
2008, 2009.
Because everything, because Homecoming was the first big clue to that when they showed the 8 years later as they were cleaning up the battle for New York.
Okay.
That was the first big clue that everybody's thoughts about the timeline was wrong. Everybody assumed that when the movie came out, that's when the story took place. That has not been the case.
Oh wow!
Just because the movies come out when they come out, that's not the story being told.
Okay. Yeah, because this gets very interesting as we go along. Exactly what year these movies are actually taking place.
Because it's that's why it's interesting to talk about that sort of thing. Like,
it's important for how we're leading up to the last Avengers anyway, but even just to this Avengers in Phase 3.
That's why they were so trepidatious to work with each other. They're literally just meeting each other.
Right.
if they've been doing this for years, they would have known each other. They would have bumped into each other doing this had it came out the way it came out. But that way the story was told, this all happened within a year, and all these people with these different abilities are meeting for the first time.
Yeah. Well, as far as the Captain America movie, this is my least favorite Captain America movie, but it's still the most interesting story. I think
it's your least favorite Captain America movie only because the next 2 Captain America movies was so good.
Yeah.
There has to be one at the bottom.
Yeah, I was glad the Russo brothers took over the reins for Joe Johnston.
Yeah, but even though, cause I will admit I do like the fact that they told a full period story instead of just having flashes of it.
Yeah, it's mostly because of this being an origin story, but this is still probably one of the most interesting stories, like I said, especially for an origin story in the Phase 1. I think Captain America is such an awesome story, and then and also even though his romantic was with Peggy Carter, right?
Yeah,
that was his romantic interest. But as far as the best interesting chemistry and back and forth, it's probably with the Captain America and Sebastian Stan or
Bucky Barnes.
Their friendship is probably more interesting, I think, than his romantic relationship with Peggy Carter. But him and Peggy were probably the best romantic relationship in the MCU for Phase 1. But especially when you see what his relationship with her, how it changes once he has moved in time and done that time.
Once the time jump occurs, you realize how much Peggy meant to him.
Yes, that's when you really can see how their relationship was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as the villain, who's the villain in this one?
Red Skull.
Red Skull, and that is Hugo Weaving.
Yes.
Who is an amazing actor.
Yes.
And he was really good. Red Skull was a really good bad guy in this one.
And I'm hoping he comes back.
Yeah, because we saw him again in we saw him actually in Civil War, right?
He still hasn't returned.
He hasn't returned. Who did we see in that one part in Civil War?
That was Crossbones.
Crossbones. Okay, dang, I thought that was Red Skull.
Red Skull gets vaporized, and we haven't seen him since. But I'm thinking if they were smart, they would use a plot line I saw from an episode of Avengers Assemble, ironically enough.
Really?
Where he gets vaporized, sees Thanos coming, and somehow comes back to Earth and surrenders himself to the Avengers as like, there's something coming. You are not ready for it. Yeah. I am not ready for it. I'm scared. Red Skull came back scared, and Red Skull doesn't easily get scared.
Wow.
So that's how powerful. That would be a great way to show you how bad Thanos is, to show you that Red Skull's afraid of him.
Mm-hmm. And we see Howard Stark in this one, played by Dominic Cooper.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, this one was like this is very important. How this ties into the Avengers and into the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
But
because, like they said, he's the first.
Yeah, it's just it's more the pacing issues I had with this one than anything. It drags on really slow. It's a really slow movie. But it builds up. But I haven't seen this movie since it was in theaters, so that's why I'm blanking on so many of these story elements. I've seen it one time, and it was just back when it was in theaters. But yeah, I already did I already score this one? No,
we haven't revealed our ranking.
We haven't revealed our ranks yet. So for this one was my number 3.
This is my number 3 too.
Nice. So yeah. we have a lot in.
We agree on some things. Some things we don't agree on. Like our order of Hulk and Iron Man 2 were flipped.
Yeah.
But 3 and 4 will match on. Then.
Yeah. So I think that's all, because there's, like I said, this one was kind of a dry movie, so there's not so much to talk about. But like I said, at the same time, there's a lot you can talk about. You can really go do a deep dive into this thing if you really wanted to. Mm-hmm. But
now we get to the main event.
Avengers.
Yes.
Or Avengers.
Or in other parts of the world, Avengers Assemble.
Yes.
To avoid confusion with the old 60s British TV show.
Yeah. Yeah, that was interesting. So you want to go ahead and summarize Avengers?
Okay. Everything you've watched and built to this point has come to fruition. Thor, Iron Man, Captain America, the Hulk, Black Widow, Hawkeye, Nick Fury, Loki, the Tesseract. It all matters in this one movie. It all came together, and this is when it really showed you that, holy crap, the MCU is here for realsies. They just did this. They just took 5 independent movies and took those 5 movies and made one new story out of the elements of these other 5 movies. And it worked as well on its own and as a companion piece. That's why I'm not even going to wait for you and make you think and wait on it.
No, we already know.
It's the number 1.
Mine too.
Of the phase 1.
Number 1 for phase 1. This was when I was all in.
This is the one that showed me, when's the next one?
Yeah.
When this one was over, I'm like, okay, what's next? Okay, can we get more, please? I want another. I want more.
No. It was great for what it was at the time, but I was more than happy to see the Russo brothers take over the Avengers for Infinity War.
Yeah, the Avengers, for what it was like a landmark moment that you'll never duplicate.
I think the problem is Joss Whedon's style of directing is is a little too close to comic book, where Russo brothers do a little better at turning it into a more cinematic movie. I think that's probably what it is.
Yeah, but being close to comic book maybe helped the Avengers Avengers in this case, because it was like it was literally like a ripped from the pages kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that actually having that comic book direction helped that.
Yeah.
Because see, now that you can tell more stories, you can go the cinematic direction, but for the first time, we wanted that comic book. Oh no. We wanted that comic book interactions with heroes for the first time, because in the comic books, just because the heroes don't necessarily mean they get along.
Yeah.
So when they meet and fight for the first time, that's ripped right out the pages, and that makes comic book people like me and my father happy.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay. And then when they pay off that fight later with them showing what they learned from the fight in the battle later, it's like, yes. Yes.
Yeah. And also, this one was written by Zach Penn, also who did, like I said, The Incredibles or The Incredible Hulk and Ready Player One.
Mm-hmm.
Which
Zach Penn seems to know how to juggle a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
a lot of stuff.
So this one I also got to watch a couple times when I was working at the IMAX theater. So
and for me, the Avengers sold me on one. The Avengers worked for me when they did that one pan around shot of all of them in one circle. You know the shot.
Oh yeah.
That shot alone was like, this is happening. These are the Avengers.
Now you can definitely tell Joss Whedon has a really good grasp on like some of these, like the Black Widow character. Mm-hmm. I think whenever he was directing anytime he directs anything with the Black Widow character, I think it's a little better than what what she was given in like Civil War or something. I think he does a really good job with Black Widow, and I wish he would probably do a Black Widow movie.
Mm-hmm. Now that he's not doing Batgirl anymher.
Yeah, he's not doing Batgirl. Mm-hmm. But yeah, this was an event that you never forget when you watch saw this first Avengers movie. It was historical. It was epic. It was amazing.
Yeah, it was like they actually did it.
Yeah,
they actually made a good movie that tied all these other stories together.
Yeah, and it was also, one of the best big battle scenes.
Oh yeah,
in the Phase 1.
And it still meant and another scene that really sold the movie to me too, and I still smile like a child every time I see it. It said when Loki was talking trash, and Hulk grabbed that leg and just said, And then the part that makes me laugh so hard every time is after he slams him the 4 times, he looks at him and then goes for 2 more. Yeah. Like, yes. Because Loki just left laying there. I'm like, that is exactly what the Hulk would do. I had no qualms with that scene at all. And there was also like a little lighter, funnier moments when like they sent Steve Rogers they sent Captain America into like a little room, and they said, "What is this scene?" What do you see? And since Captain America is so far removed, he doesn't know what he's looking at. He goes, "It looks like it runs on some form of electricity." I'm like,
So how far is the distance in the timeline between this and Captain America, the first?
Obviously, the same amount of time, about the same amount of time it was from Captain America to his own to the end of his own movie.
Yeah,
because this is shortly after that.
Shortly after that, so yeah. This one would be as far as the year,
late 2008, early 2009.
Okay, so there's not a lot of time between Iron Man and the Avengers.
No, not a lot of time at all.
Okay, so that's really interesting.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's why they're so trepidatious to work with each other, because they don't know each other. Yeah. They're coming together solely because Loki's trying to take over the Earth.
So, and this is also when we were introduced to this new Bruce Banner.
Yeah, Mark Ruffalo.
And yeah, like I said, I unpopular opinion maybe. I did it for.
One thing I also like too is a reason why I like Mark Ruffalo's Bruce Banner more. He actually is smart.
Yeah.
Edward Norton didn't feel like he was as smart as...
I'll give you that. Edward Norton doesn't come across as smart.
Edward Norton's Bruce Banner didn't feel as smart as Mark Ruffalo's Bruce Banner. Mark Ruffalo really feels like a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde kind of situation. You have this intelligent, genius scientist with a monster trapped inside of him.
Yeah.
He actually shows that side of him. That's why him working closely with Tony Stark and all of them in later movies makes sense because he's still a genius.
I guess it's just so hard to find that balance between, because he's a genius with some anger issues. I can see Edward Norton with the anger issues part, but I can't see him with the genius part. Where I can see Mark Ruffalo with the genius part, but I can't necessarily see him with the anger issues part.
Because we're showing a Bruce that's under control.
Right.
Mark Ruffalo is portraying a Bruce Banner that's under control.
Yeah. So he's got his emotions under control for the most part.
That's why he said that he could choke. That's why in Civil War, he said he could. Age of Ultron, he would choke Scarlet Witch out and not even turn a shade of green.
Yeah.
Because he could get angry without hulking out and still damage you bad.
Yeah. But just break his heart for a little bit and you see where that goes. Because he didn't have no control for at least 2 years, right?
It was just the fact that he was constantly fighting.
Yeah.
And so he had no chance to calm down.
Yeah.
think about it. If you're fighting 2 years at peak strength, that Hulk ain't dying down for a while.
Yeah.
Because you always got to be ready for the next fight.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, this was my number one for the for the phase 1 of MCU, and not much. I mean, this takes us into the phase 2, which you'll hear our opinion on phase 2 next week.
So we got to think back and put the list together.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert: Guardians might be high on mine.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say so too. There are definitely some bigger stinkers though in phase 2 than there were probably in phase 1. Yeah. you know where I'm going with that one.
Excuse me. I had to get that one out.
Yeah, you know where I was going with that.
Yeah.
I think
that one
sits pretty low on everyone's list.
That one felt more like a tire spinning movie than Iron Man 2 did.
Yeah. So when we actually do our overall after phase 3 of you'll see where that one sits. But yeah, there's some gold to be in phase 2.
There's some gold you got to dig through. There's some gold in there, but there's some nuggets in there too. There are some different kind of ingots in there too.
Yeah. But anyways, guys, this is our basically our review of the phase 1 of the MCU, and our guess, like I said, your timeline that you've established. Or you haven't established this timeline. They established the timeline.
I'm piecing it together based on the information that I'm finding.
Yes.
So once phase 2 starts, I may not be helpful with that anymore. We may have to consult a guide.
Yes.
I'm just patiently waiting for Marvel Studios to release an official one on their own.
Mm-hmm.
And then I can backtrack and correct anything I've said in the past.
Yeah, but anyways, guys, let us know what your ranking are for the phase 1. What if it's the same, if it's different, if you agree with us, and I would love to hear what you guys think of the phase 1 for the Marvel MCU, or MCU, I guess, because Marvel's in the MCU. But anyways,
yeah.
Anyways, guys, we'll go ahead and I am Walker Cheatham.
I'm EJ Flemming. You can find us on the social medias on the screen right there.
Yep, and our links are down in the description of this video. And guys, we thank you for watching this video. Make sure you check out our latest Movie Champs show, episode 27 right there. Also check out some of these movie reviews that we just did. And guys, we will see you.
And don't forget to subscribe at the bottom.
Don't forget to subscribe, or like and subscribe. We have the subscribe button right there for you. Anyways, guys, we will see you next time. Bye.
Peace.